Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a business growth strategist where I help business owners grow and scale to create freedom and choice. And today, I have an awesome guest. He's a serial entrepreneur, including being the founder and CEO of Synchronos.io, the new player on the market requiring fresh approaches in the remote working world. He has led and managed multiple companies as the CTO and VP of Engineering in the past, and he has shaped the system into the most practical way of managing businesses. And utilizing his proven skills in architecting, developing, and managing software solutions, which are backed with 13 years of experience, he is capable of technical problem solving and communication with high-stress, mission-critical environments. He is considered an expert in the telecommunication, productivity, and fintech software solutions, including big data and blockchain technologies. And his current portfolio counts more than 100 startups, Fortune 500 companies, and patent pending applications. Welcome, Volodymyr Katanskyi, and thank you for being on my show.
Oh, Athin, thank you very much. This is just a majestic intro. I was like flattered hearing through it, so thank you very much for that. Yeah, so it's been a big road in terms of experience. So if you mind, I can offer an extra intro about what have been led to this experience. Mostly, I would start from being software engineer. So being in the middle of solution architecture all the time led me to build the whole portfolio, trying to make this world better through the different engineering solutions in the beginning. And then going a little bit into project management and surrounding infrastructure as well. So when you do one thing, then you start to notice, hey, I can improve this thing or that thing, and you start to delve into it if you're really interested in that stuff, and I was. And this is how I got collected so many titles, like you have mentioned. It's because I was like really intrigued to improve the environment, and eventually became an entrepreneur of my own. And probably that's why I don't sit on one place, and I'm being like CTO of different products, never stopping to produce as much value as I can. But this, like the biggest and most interesting type of project with me were startups, because they are trying to bring something new or challenge the status quo or disrupt the existing market to make things better. So this is how I mixed everything together. I can speak for a long time about me, but I think it's would be most important to focus on what I've been into recent time, like the product called Synchronos, right?
Yeah, awesome, mate. And thank you for that introduction and learning a bit more of your experience. Yeah, you've worked with so many different types of businesses, and now, obviously in the tech world, with you're developing and all these different solutions, solving problems, as we do in entrepreneur land. We're all solving problems. You're really awesome at doing that as well. So let's get into it now about Synchronos .io, which you've created, which is really very powerful. So firstly, just tell us who the platform is for. Who are you helping with this platform?
Yeah, that's a great question to start from. Thank you. So the platform is supposed to help any entrepreneur or any team who has some work to do, and which requires the tracking, the accounting, and actually the functioning of the business. So what it does in a nutshell, it helps you coordinate all of the operations and also tracking the times spent by your team in the way you have everything in one place. So it could be a sort of like home or operational system for the entire business that individual or group of people could have without the need to bang the head against the wall to figure out like how can I grab everything together and understand where I am at, like where I need to go, where are the priorities. So that's probably the shortest answer.
Yeah, awesome, mate. No, very cool. We all definitely need different tools, and I know myself, but there's many other people out there. There's so many tools, and we're trying to put things together. So it's always awesome to have one tool that sort of encapsulates everything in the one place to make our jobs a lot easier. So I know that a key focus in a business as well is like project management and task management. So share with us a bit more about how that works with Synchronos.
Yeah, well, I gotta tell that we started from taking a role model of the agency. It's one of the business I was running in the past. Right now, kind of chairman. But the thing is, I was always thinking like how I can trust and delegate the job I did, become myself as independent entrepreneur, focusing on growth and other stuff, while my business would work and operate without me. And the key was like, yeah, it's about data-driven decisions. And the project management software you could see out there, like there's a lot of those solutions. It helps you start to document this data, structure it, and have it in one place. Now, what it does basically, besides that, as a project management solution, it lets you communicate there in a seamless way. So you keep all of the work-related information in one platform, like description of the task, its progress, and the communication, like chatting. And this just helps you focus and focus on what helps you make a business more successful instead of managing the infrastructure of it. So sorry, I might be carried away with the way I describe it.
All right, it's all good, mate. I love it. This is awesome. And one thing you mentioned there as well is around the chat function, which is powerful because a lot of people, they have a project management software that they use and they got all these tasks, but then they use another system, to chat between the team and things like that. So tell us a bit more about the chat function within and, the benefits of having chat within, the projects and tasks as well.
I love that question. Thank you. This is one of the killer features, we call it so here, is the opportunity to not distract yourself using too much applications. But mostly importantly, something we suffer a lot is losing the context. So anytime when you have a project or multiple projects and people communicating, there's always different subjects popping up here and there. The problem with the chats, we've used Slack a lot, we use their threads. Problem is that we can't easily search for information through this thread, and often when we discuss something important, it's really hard to find it and structure and probably convert to a task. So one key feature we have is that we replace the comments of the tasks, like you might see on other platforms, with the chat. So we have chat everywhere, like task chat, channel chat, or always a conversation. And the task gives meaning to any conversation because it already provides the context, the subject. Like if this task is about, like, I know, some AI feature, you know that all the communication happening inside this task chat is about this feature. And it it brings the structure to the conversation as well. Like you have much easier navigation through the whole items there. Like there's the projects, there are tasks, there are task chats. You don't lose yourself trying to figure out, like, hey, where I need to go to discuss this thing. So
yeah, awesome, man. No, it is very powerful because I know, I even with my team, I'm like going in between different applications and having it all there, like you said, and the searchable function is really powerful to do that within the one place. And I know with our team as well, it's also looking at, if we're talking about the project now, is how far into the project are we? Like, what's the progress of it and how we're tracking that to know how much we've done. So how does Synchronos help us in that way?
Yeah, well, this is another thing that connected to the data that being exposed by Synchronos. Anytime the team works on the task, of course, we know the status of the task or stage. Like this is, you can create like any stage, right? You can mark the task if completed, it's not, but it's not efficient and it's not enough to make really good decisions. So we have, of course, tags, which helps group the functionality across the task boards. We have also something called milestones, which is not like probably a milestone from the dictionary, but the thing is to group the task and connect it to the specific period in time, and also connect it to the cost related to this task. So if you have a group of tasks, which is a part of your roadmap or project, and you really want to bind it to, let's say, SOV you provide for a client, or just another milestone in your startup or business, you can group them by milestone, and it would let you have a proper track of how you move along. And from milestone to milestone, it can also be compared to the sprints. You can compare how your team is progressing over the time by comparing those. Now we have something that we call workload dashboards. It shows like how the tasks are distributed. So it collects the information about how many tasks have finished, how many tasks have left, whether you have overtimes for specific tasks, like how overall team allocation look like for this project. So you can quickly find out like, hey, this guy is overloaded. I probably need to unload him and give the task to others, and so on and so forth. And on top of that, we also can take into account the timeline. So to understand like consider things like holidays or like just a natural overload of the person working focused on the complicated tasks through the Gantt timeline. So we have all of these components at hand, and any person who makes a decision, usually project manager, they can take a look quickly and understand what's going on the project. Or if there's any problem, they can see quickly like, okay, why we have like constantly spending more time for something we have estimated originally. This is a problem, especially for many businesses. It's like, you know, failing a deadline. This is one thing on the timeline, like you can't get in time. But there is also another component, especially if you're an agency business, is then when you estimate something for A, and you end up being 1.2A, this is actually 20% you're losing. So this information is essential, and preventing I mean, these incidents is essential to this business as well.
Yeah, awesome, eh? Thank you for sharing that. Really, really powerful. And one other element that I know Synchronos does that's powerful, that links with that, is around the time tracking and timesheets, because a lot of people use different, you know, software to track time, you know, which is important for efficiency and things like that. So tell us more about, the time tracking and timesheets part of it as well.
Yeah, time tracking can sound a little bit controversial. I would say we had a long story about that. But the key thing is that understanding like how much effort the team spends for specific project and specific tasks as well. This helps in many ways. I mean, you can answer like how productive the person is or how well he can estimate the task. But what's more important is sort of like double value coming out of it. You can see in real time how your team is working. So anytime, like if you imagine you've been a worker or like team member and you check your current roster for the day, you simply let your team know by tracking tasks like what you're into it. I mean, the team can see what you're working on right now, and they also can see your, you know, priorities list, and they understand and can, you know, adjust or adapt to the way you work if it's needed, or just they would know like, okay, he's finishing these tasks and I need this task to start my task, you know. And this information shown visually in real time in Synchronos, so it helps people communicate and leave the time for actual calling, chatting when it's really necessary, not like, you know, bugging all the time, like, hey, what are you working on right now, what are you going to do next, and so on and so forth. So, and it's technically replacing the check-ins by providing a more smart solution just out of the box.
Yeah, awesome. And I know on the back of that as well, from the time tracking, you've also got like your team members and then how much of a cost they are, right? Like in the business, or how much you're charging them out at the same time. So that's a really powerful function to understand about those things, which can then link into invoicing, right? At the same time, if you're charging out a certain amount of hours. So talk with us a little bit more about the back end of that and that invoicing side.
Right. Yeah, let's dig into numbers. The thing is, all this time tracked, it can be reflected with the expenditures you have in your business and also income. So for agency, you can set up like the rate you pay for the contractor and the rate you bill your client for, where the difference is basically the gross margin. And this information is carefully captured in the Synchronos, and it can be used to automatically generate the invoice or timesheets report if needed. The invoice feature, this is something we have added recently. It's like a game changer when it comes to manual, you know, compiling of all of the invoices that are coming from the organization to the client, and also from the contractors to the company, because otherwise you gotta have sort of like register to, you know, calculate all that information, and you need to compile it manually. It doesn't account like many things out of the box. Like out of these basic operations like invoicing and tracking the progress, we also have some features that called goals, which can specify the minimum and maximum margin goal you want to expect from the specific team members or projects, and lets you get insights as long as you work and see like how they perform. Sometimes this information can help understand like, well, that project is too stressful and doesn't generate enough income, so you can do something about that. Maybe recomposition the team, something like this. And some other items might incentivize you to give some kudos or extra bonuses to the team if they like overperform. You see like you have extra margin earning. This is a great idea to probably reward them for that. And all the information, as I said, as soon as the data is generated by tracking time, it gives birth to many extra data aggregations and these valuable insights to you and your organization.
Yeah, awesome. Love that, mate. Really powerful with the, that side and the invoicing side as well. And one thing else you touched on there was about budgeting. So because a lot of businesses, they do this in Excel or somewhere else, right, outside of their system. It's like, how do we know for a project, what the budget is, or overall in the business, what the budgeting is, and are we on track, et cetera, et cetera. So how does Synchronos help us really dive deep on that budgeting and give us clear outcomes to make better decisions?
Yeah, thank you. So this question is really good in terms of showing the feature about what we call quote, because you probably start with some work you want to estimate, and this is how the system automatically provides you information about what would be the projected cost for the specific project. In other words, it might look like a calculator, right? Like you create a lot of tasks because, let's say some client comes up with a project, you create the tasks out of it, you assign people, you estimate the time. So you have all the components to calculate the cost of every individual task and also the whole project in total. Now, having this information, you can project the potential earnings of the project to be succeeded, or you can also understand some room to maneuver, because let's say that client has a specific budget. You can understand how far you can tap into your margin and whether the project remains profitable to you. Now, this quote is a part of milestone, because it's like the period in time when you do some work, like iterations, sprints, milestones, is pretty much the same. Now you can compare and see how the budget and resources are used from milestone to milestone, and understand how you can act ahead of time, seeing where the project goes, right? Like without this information, it's pretty hard. And as you mentioned, you have to sit and do the manual updates pretty often with the spreadsheets, which sometimes can be like error-nails, because the human factor can exist. You might just misclick something and do not account some important information. Now there are two different type of quotes we have in It's basically different milestone type, different quote type. It's time and material and fixed price. This fixed price is straightforward, like just a calculator. Like you create a set of tasks, you estimate them, and whatever happens, like for client, the price is final. Like you do the beta, like you earn money, it's okay. The client won't see these numbers if you invite them to a platform. That's the key. Now, if you go to time and material, it works an opposite way. It's about like to track the actual time spent for the specific tasks and project, and it has a higher transparency, but it also shows like how your team performs. The actual discussion between what's the best, it's probably out of the scope of this conversation, but I just wanted to tell that we consider both, because this is pretty common way to operate. And as soon as your team tracks time, it actually generates the data, and then you can have like an understanding and projection about what if something goes this way or this way. You are empowered with all the information to make a right decision. And from my personal experience, when we started using that, I've seen project managers stop and doing some mistakes for me that was obvious, not for them, because they simply didn't see the whole picture. That's the point.
Yeah, so true. Very, very powerful. Love all of that area there. It's the budgeting and all that side, it's game changing, right? When you get that right to make better decisions. And following on from that, a lot of the time we need to do reporting, right? We need to be able to pull the data out of the system, and dashboards are becoming more used these days, and a lot of people are doing these in different systems and things like that as well at the moment. So how have you integrated dashboards and reporting to make extracting and analyzing that data easy?
Yeah, thank you. Well, we start from some basic functionalities such as generating timesheets. Like if you ever used any tracking solution, something like that, you would need to generate the actual roster. I mean, not probably roster, the timesheets, like who has worked it, how many times in a specific day. And this is one of the main functionality which can give you a real look about where we are at. Now, going into a little bit more details, there's definitely dashboards which might give much, I would say, filtered insight that is important, let's say for top management like CFO or COO. So someone's overseeing all the operations of the company can see just scoped information, like very squeezed. It's important just for them about like how margins are going on along the time. Like it gives them understanding like where I need to pay attention to. This is a question the dashboard helps to answer, like what I need to look at. If all is green, like you're within your margin goal range, this is good. I mean, probably I don't need to do anything. If it's like over budget or overspent or something like that, you can quickly check that. There's also extra analytics such as budget deviation. This there's a lot of things we have introduced, but we've been practical about answering very simple questions like if everything is perfect in my organization, well, I probably don't need to lift a finger, but I need to know that, and I need the data to confirm that. Other dashboards more like for CFO kind of job. This is something that we are still developing some part of this. So what it does, it shows like the real net worth of your company, taking into account the expenses, the income, well, and that's it probably for now. And the expenses can be like paying for other softwares, paying the salaries, paying the contractors, and the income categories could be also pretty wide, like receiving money for the job done, like services provided, as well as maybe some investments. So having all of that stuff in one platform, I never seen that thing before, and it was like always time-consuming stuff. Now with these dashboards, it can quickly show you how you perform, like how much you can earn in this month or in this quarter, or how it will look like in the next quarter. This is awesome to answer the question like, are you doing things globally right? And I never seen something like that in any other tools, and I was like, well, why didn't anyone do that? I mean, spreadsheets are everywhere, and it takes a lot of time to maintain this stuff, right? Like every month, you got to do that manually through like either accounting platforms or bank solutions. This is something that we try to automate, so you can have this data for free just by using this tool. So yeah, I'm a bit carried away, but I think for the dashboard side, that was like high level things on the organization level. And as I mentioned before, on the project level, there's this workload, which gives like more project specific information about like how the team is distributed, how it's loaded, what tasks are awaited, what's the progress on task, like burn down chart, all of that stuff is there. And we also plan to extend it to a little bit more ways as well, because we have all the data. It's now the game of making it look specific. Like people who loves agile style, they use like not just burn down, they use burn up chart, like cumulative efforts reports and something like that. So we just think about what else we can extract from it, because this data is essential basically.
So. Yeah, awesome, mate. Very, very, very powerful. Love all that, and seeing things visually. A lot of people are visual, and then being able to dig into that is, really, really powerful to us make those decisions. So powerful stuff on Synchronos, and I'd love to just pick your brain a little bit about your, your entrepreneur experience as well, because you've, co-founded or founded many companies and gone down that path. And a lot of people think that it's all great, but there's always a lot of challenges along in the business world. So share with us, maybe a big challenge, or maybe something that you had to overcome that was quite big that you didn't see coming, so that we can learn, from your experience as well.
Yeah, thank you. Gladly will share that. I would say the number one challenge I faced so far was exactly the word in your show's name. It's growth. So growth, while it might sound really awesome at the first hand, like you're growing, it's changing, it also increases the pressure onto those who are managing or leading this process, right? And from my experience, the growth was something that is kind of distracting people surrounding me or working with other businesses. If it can easily go out of the control. So from my experience, I'm a numbers guy, right? I'm an engineer. So for me, it was always essential to have data on hand. So before making any decision, I need to know like all of the nuts and bolts beyond that to understand exactly what I will, retrieve in the end. So the accounting of the pretty much everything starting from the task, work scope, and the money is going in and out was pretty much essential to me. I was working with some of my experience working in the bigger teams, some are in the smaller teams, but the challenge remains the same. How are people are, how they are communicating, how they can work together so this growth won't actually kill the whole business. And that's probably how I end up having this product. I mean, I have a system, and before Synchronos, I used to have like set of tables and processes I documented for myself, and I tried to share this with others, like with other managers, with other teammates, like engineers, and in the end, I figured that this is too much of cognitive load to the people, and they start paying too much attention and time to maintain the whole thing instead of doing what they are being, what their main focus is. And I was starting to think like how software can help us, avoid that, because otherwise you're consumed with this and you spend a lot of time on something that doesn't generate income for your business, but it's important, it's like administrative part. And that was like my one of my main focuses on make myself free from the businesses I think that should be good to go along. Not like getting back, when it started to the fire is set, and it just needs your attention and you need to come and extinguish something. That was like the main problem there, to become really independent. And while working with different startups, I've seen this is the same. Like in the very beginning, it seems like, you're going on your first date in life. All is so good. Like you have money at hand. You started to working with people. You have like fresh tasks, but things get really interesting once you get to a point when you need to deliver. When it applies to any business, right? Like when you need to start getting the customer feedback, or get real people to work with something you've been working on so hard. It's all about the testing, how well was the whole journey for you. And these, I would say, painful necessity to work in this frame of the system that was mentioned before is exactly the key. Like if everything works well, you're in the full swing, right? You like everyone knows what they do, they got on time. How to maintain this process to produce the results, that was like my biggest challenge, so to say so. And while working as a CTO software engineer, I was always working on creating the solutions. So usually you have a problem, there is some brief, and you need to do something about that. It's kind of like general troubleshooting skill. You just apply the whole of your experience, and you need to measure it. Like I have a lot of ideas, you have a lot of ideas, like a lot of people have a lot of ideas, that's fine. But how can you put a measure to it? How you can actually plan and make it look like, well, this might work out. So this question is potentially could be, the answer to this question can be the answer to the question of how to grow efficiently. So that's, I would say, the biggest challenge I had in the past and I have now. And it's tightly connected, to my schedule. Like how do I operate as a person? Like it's always kind of waves when you have like struggle time, when you need like the most of your resources. Then it's more like marathon, you like do some other stuff. And again, if there's a right tool that can back you up, so when you're not in the resource, like you feel not well, but you need to, create a solution here and now, That's a problem. And this is exactly what's like the way, like how we can achieve that to produce like the best results at any given time. So I don't know if I went too far with this answer, but yeah, I probably all other entrepreneurs facing some challenges like that or very close to it.
Yeah, awesome. No, that was great. Thank you, because a lot of people don't see this stuff in the background, especially if they're, early on in their business, and it's always good to understand what's coming. And this is obviously key behind your thinking, right? Because you had the business, you saw the pain points, right? Entrepreneurs is all about solving problems, and now you've gone, okay, there's no solution in the market that does all of this. I'm just going to build it, which is amazing. And it's it's constantly, I know that you're constantly improving it and everything like that as well. It's not like you're there, and it's going to be really a really powerful one-stop shop. And I know today you've also got a special discount code link, right, for everybody to get Synchronos. And so tell us more about the amazing deal, and obviously we'll put the code in the description further below.
Yeah, by having a link from Athin, you can get the something called the onside. So you just basically have a discount for the next 12 months to track the project beyond the trial, and it might help you understand whether this fits you well. They think if we speak about economy part of this deal, we offer chat, we offer project management, we offer part of the accounting and all of that stuff at some rates that I would say otherwise very efficient for small to medium businesses in the beginning and those who want to try new things. So I think that would be an awesome opportunity to check out the product, give you feedback. And one more thing I wanted to add, we are actually would love to see how we can customize that so it would work for any business. So any feedback, I mean every feedback, so not any, every feedback is extremely valuable to us. And this is something that we are looking towards. Like we've built a lot of things based on some existing business model. It's a software agency, one of the business I own, and it works well there. But once we started to reach out with other clients, we've seen like, hey, we probably need to adjust this thing or add a small tool here and there. This is exactly the great opportunity to see whether it can become the perfect tool for you.
Yeah, awesome, guys. So that's a 25% discount for the first 12 months after the initial free trial. So the link will be in the description below and chat. So definitely check that out. Yeah, very, very powerful on what they're creating. And you can see how innovative Volodymyr is with the business in going, how can we always improve this with the feedback? That's exactly what you want from a business. So it's always innovating and definitely a recommendation. And yeah, powerful session today, Volodymyr. And I guess as we're wrapping up here, what one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
Yeah, that's a challenging question to me because I have a lot. But I would say the most important is to achieve the point when you can clearly answer like, how is my business is profitable? Like to have a really clear and solid understanding of where you are, considering all the assets, all the liabilities. I would say it's a key for many reasons, including your own conscious. So you understand like whether I'm doing things properly. I've seen that this advice helped some of my acquaintances in the past just because you've been carried out by the business. But having the answer to this question, I think, is one of the essential to motivate and progress in the entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I love that, mate. Completely agree. Very, very important. And yeah, we connected through our networks, right? Learned about your awesome journey from founding many businesses to creating Synchronos.io, the new player in the market for project management, budgeting, and so much more, as we've discussed today. You're an awesome guy, and I'm sure you'll continue to help businesses be more efficient and effective. And I'm very grateful that we connected. I look forward to working with you and yeah, growing my business as well with Synchronos. So Volodymyr, how can people find you and get in contact with you?
Oh, there's a lot of different ways, starting from just going to synchronos.io, and you can find the email. It's info@synchronos.io. I think Athin can provide the link, right, for so I don't need to spell word by word. It's a little bit weird word. Yeah, there we can have a conversation. As I said, my mission is that to make things working for everyone. So I mean, unlike other business, I know everyone wants to have the profit, but that's more important to bring value. So you can find me there. I'm available pretty much at all the contacts provided there.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Definitely check out Volodymyr on the website, the email, and we'll have the discount code as well down below. So check those out. And yeah, very, very powerful platform, as you can see. Looking forward to seeing how this helps my business, and I'm sure many other businesses globally as well. And thank you to everyone for watching and listening to this show where we talk about everything on business growth. And please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. So if you want to grow and scale your business, you can reach out to me on any platform to see if we're a good fit. I completely agree with you, or do I? The only way you'll know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So remember to design your growth and results.